Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to our daily read aloud. I'm Miss Jacob, and we are going to continue our books that are celebrating differences. And remember, we're each different and we're each unique, and always remember that that's okay. And in fact, that's what makes this world so great and beautiful is the fact that there are so many differences among us. So today's book is actually a movie too, and I don't know if you've ever seen Ferdinand, the movie, but that movie was based on a book called The Story of Ferdinand. And this story is about a bull, Ferdinand, and he prefers smelling flowers than fighting. He doesn't want to fight like everyone else in his family and like other bulls do. He wants to smell flowers. And so that makes him different, right? And at first that's not accepted, but we'll have to read to find out what happens in the story. All right, so an important message in this book is to remember that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay if you're not like everyone else. And again, I just think that it's really important that we realize that and that we remember that we are each different and unique. Okay. So, the story of Ferdinand. And by the way, if you all ever get a chance to watch the movie Ferdinand, it's a great movie. I really like it. It's a cartoon. It's a good movie. Okay. Once upon a time in Spain, that's a country far away from here, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. You see the flower and the butterfly? And Ferdinand is looking at the flower, and I bet he wants to smell it. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together, but not Ferdinand. He didn't want to do those things. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. So it shows, here's the mother cow, and here is Ferdinand the bull, and he's under the tree. You can barely see it, but he's there by himself. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Those are very famous bullfights in Spain. But not Ferdinand. Boys and girls, did Ferdinand want to fight like the other bulls? No. Ferdinand wanted to do what? Ferdinand wanted to smell the flowers, and he liked it when it was quiet and peaceful. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the famous fights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around, snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. So they were trying to show off. They wanted the men to pick them. Do you think the men pick the other bulls, or do you think they try to pick Ferdinand? What do you think? Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite tree and he sat down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Now, boys and girls, what do you know about bumblebees? Bumblebees have a stinger, and he sat on the stinger. Do you think it hurt? And when he sat on that stinger and it hurt, did he jump up? He did, yes. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, and that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Wow, did it hurt! Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. Oh my. But those men, wait, they're over here. Those men saw his reaction to being stung by the bumblebee. They saw him and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest bull and fiercest bull of all. Just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. Oh, so now they have seen him react to this bumblebee and they think he is so strong and fierce. So they took him away for the bullfight, and they took him away in a cart. Do you think he's going to be happy, boys and girls? The men took him. They had to kind of probably catch him and tie him up and put him in the back of this cart so that they could take him to the bullfights in Madrid. Do you think that Ferdinand will be happy about that? Probably not. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing music, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderilleros. I don't think I say that correctly. I need some help with that word. And they had long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. That sounds so sad. Is that what happens? So it's kind of like what the bumblebee did. You know how when Ferdinand was stung by the bumblebee and it didn't make him mad, but it hurt and he reacted? Well, that's what they're going to do with these long, sharp swords. They're going to try to pretend like they're stinging him to get him to react that way. Poor Ferdinand. Next came the picadores. I don't know if I say that correctly either, but I hope so. Who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Oh my, poor Ferdinand. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Who was it? Who was the bull that they're going to use? Ferdinand. What do you think Ferdinand's doing? They call him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderillos were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. They were all afraid of him. Should they be afraid though? He's so nice. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But boy, were they in for a surprise. Not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely lady's hair. And he just sat down quietly and sniffed the air because he wanted to smell the flowers. Poor Ferdinand. He wouldn't fight and be fierce, no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderillos were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad that he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. I bet Ferdinand will be happy about going home. What do you guys think? And for all I know, he is sitting there, still, under his favorite tree, smelling the flowers quietly. He is very happy. And that is the end. And so, boys and girls, again, this book is called Ferdinand, and I love this book. It talks about the difference that Ferdinand was different than the other bulls, but that's okay because it is okay to be yourself. And don't forget it, okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye.